screaming, whoa, oh, oh, whoa.
Hey guys, so I hope you had a good first Monday without Kaylee and I. I know we miss you, but we're going through a lot of stuff with moving and trying to find an apartment here in Austin and all that. But anyways, I just wanted to start off this kind of next semester, I guess, and we decided last Monday that the first week we were going to start and we are going to talk about relationships, so dating and relationships. So the first point I want to make is, you probably might already know this, but dating is not in the Bible. So there's no place to go and to really read, okay, God says this about dating, or this is how you should treat a boyfriend or a girlfriend. You know, in the time that the Bible was written, culturally, dating didn't exist. You know, dating is something that's been created with our society as we've evolved. You know, in other countries still, they don't really do dating the way we do. They might court, or they might, date in a supervised way. But America really has a lot of freedom in the way that, kids of many ages are dating. It's kind of culturally accepted in your families to have a boyfriend and girlfriend when you're in elementary school or junior high school. And so it's a tough issue because we can't really get as much hands-on, yes, this is okay in dating and this is not okay in dating. So a lot of it has to come from our personal convictions of what we think God has planned for us. And so the verse I'm going to talk about today is 1 Corinthians 7:31. I'm going to go ahead and read it now, and we'll kind of dig into this. I want you to be free from anxieties. The unmarried man is anxious about the things of the Lord, how to please the Lord. But the married man is anxious about worldly things, how to please his wife. And his interests are divided. And the unmarried or betrothed woman is anxious about the things of the Lord, how to be holy in body and spirit. But the married woman is anxious about worldly things, how to please her husband. I say this for your own benefit, not to lay any restraint upon you, but to promote good order and to secure your undivided devotion to the Lord. So this is Paul writing to the Corinth church, and they're having, and he just went through a bunch of stuff about sexual immorality and married and what you're supposed to do with husband and wife, and then he kind of throws in this section about kind of comparing the unmarried man's heart with the married man's heart, and vice versa with the women. And I think although this is written for women, or for married and unmarried, it can really apply to the dating situation that we have going on in America. Basically, I mean, I don't know if you guys probably have seen this, where you have a friend who is really into either sports or school or music or church, something like that, and then all of a sudden they get a boyfriend or a girlfriend, and it seems like nothing else matters, and all of a sudden all their attention is focused on this new person they're dating, and they love them, they're the end-all be-all, and everything they do is kind of based around this new person in their life. And so Paul was really giving a warning to that in relation to married people. He was saying that when you're unmarried, or when you're not dating, when you're single, your whole focus is devoted onto your purpose from God. And then on the opposite side, when you get married, you have a split focus. Now God is competing with a wife or a husband. And so I think that is a big warning that Paul's giving. And I think as a married person, you can take that and you can see that, what I want for my concerns, my anxieties for my wife, I need to put second in order to what my concerns and my anxieties are for God. And so when we think about dating, whether you feel like you're in a place where you should be dating or whether you feel like you're in a place where you shouldn't be dating, it's good to remember this whole principle of being able to place God before anything else. And so if you're not dating right now, or even if you are, I'm just going to encourage you to do a few things. One thing I would encourage you to do is write down a list of the qualities that you want in a husband or a wife. So think about, 10 years from now or whatever, think about being married, think about what the qualities are, that you want, trust or honesty or, a leader in the church, all these things that maybe you desire to have You can even write down specific things like their profession or what type of job you want them to have. Different character aspects of funny or goofy or whatever. I would write those down and just save them somewhere. The cool thing is once you are like engaged or something years down the line, you can pull that out and be like, man, how much of what I wanted when I was younger, God actually gave me with this person. And it's kind of fun to kind of see how a lot of times God will blow your expectations out of the water. And so it's kind of cool. The other thing I wanted to talk about was kind of the idea of boundary setting, which is obviously what kind of Paul was getting at, was how to set boundaries and limit your anxieties or desire towards a partner or spouse or whatever your dating partner, kind of as we're talking about it. And I think it's important for us to remember the purpose of dating. Although in the world, dating is really casual, and so it's, just date whoever you want just because, have some fun to fill up your time. But I think as Christians, we are called to be different, and I think if you choose to date, I think your purpose should be to find somebody to marry. So you shouldn't just date to be casual because you want to waste time, because dating gets very serious and somebody's always going to get hurt. And so we don't want to be hurting other Christians. And so I think it's very important to remember that we should be looking for a spouse, not for just, somebody to have fun with. And that goes with boundaries of sexual boundaries and how far you're going to go. And I'm not here to tell you X is too far, Y is too far. Really you have to get in touch with what God wants and where God's vision is for you. But you need to have that conversation up front in a relationship. If you decide to be boyfriend and girlfriend, you need to say, hey, my line is here, and I feel God's telling me my line is here. What happens if you don't do that? You start playing the game of chicken, and you just kind of see how far can we go, until you're in a place where you both feel guilty, and it can ruin the relationship. You can either repent and reverse those actions and stay away from that sexual sin, or you can just keep doing it until you finally get so emotional that you're broken up, and there's a lot of just damage from a relationship like that. Another couple things that I was told when I was younger that I thought were really helpful was that you want to look at, when you're thinking about dating somebody, you want to look at, okay, what has God given them a passion or a talent to do? And what has God given me a passion and a talent to do? And how do those line up? Because if our long-term dreams, like if she wants to be a missionary and I wanted to be stay in the United States and work with youth, and she wanted to be going living for 10 years in like Jamaica or something like that, we're probably not gonna, God probably wouldn't put us together. And obviously someone's direction from God can change, but if they're really, really passionate about this is their calling from God, and you're really passionate about what yours is, then God probably doesn't have you two paired up together. And that's just kind of an insight on how to find direction. And I think I remember, in that talk, the guy was talking about how you should when you're dating and you're thinking about marrying this person, you should be finding out what their passion and talents are, and be praying to God and say, am I the type of person that's going to help them get to where their passion and their desire and their dreams are, or am I going to take away from that? And that kind of helps you in that discovery of, is this person right for me? Another thing with how to treat somebody that you're dating, we talked about the sexual boundaries, but there's also just the respect. And I had somebody tell me, like, you don't want to be their first text in the morning, or the first person that texts them in the morning and the first person that texts them at night. And I don't know, I don't necessarily agree with that, but I think the point behind it is that you don't want to get so attached to somebody when you're just dating. You have to, once that happens, that if you ever break up, it's going to be so detrimental to both of you. And so God constantly in His Word is talking about guarding our hearts and guarding our hearts from those heartbreaks. And you might be somebody that has to go through that hard lesson, but the key is just to put boundaries in your relationships, so that if something happens and you find out that this isn't the one for you, that you're not going to be so devastated that it shakes your world and it impacts your future relationships. And another thing is you have to think about everything you do, the relationship you have with every person that's not your future spouse. You're going to have to tell that future spouse everything you've done. Another way to think about it is that you want to treat, if you're a guy and you're dating a girl, and vice versa, you want to treat that girl with respect to where on the day that she gets married, and it's not to you, that you're invited to the wedding and that her husband comes up to you, shakes your hand, and says, I just wanted to thank you for how you treated my wife when you dated. And so, I mean, I know that seems kind of crazy, but I just kind of let these things sink in with you. And, the purpose of this week about relationships wasn't really to necessarily put specific boundaries in your life, but my idea was to get the conversation going with, if you're single, for just you and God, or if you're dating somebody, for the three of you, to kind of discuss, okay, what boundaries do we need to set up? How do I need to guard my heart? What is God telling me about myself and this person I'm dating? And kind of open up that discussion and let you get the conviction from God. If you have any more questions, go ahead and post it on Facebook. I'm looking forward to next week, and we're going to talk about relationships with like our enemies or people we don't like. So I hope you have a great week, and I hope Monday was okay without us.